Charlie, welcome to the podcast. First off, for anyone listening, Charlie's wearing a ghillie suit and a sombrero. So can you explain to us what that is for?
I'm CharlieDoesFishing. I'm a fun guy. My videos are all fun. A lot of people like to take things too seriously. And my whole thing is about having a joke while also having an adventure.
That is the key to it, isn't it? So let's talk about how you first got into fishing. So people know that you do the fishing now. We'll get into that. But where did it start for you? When did you start fishing?
So I think it probably started for me as a kid. Grew up in a similar area to this, right next to the Wandle, beautiful river. Always interested by what's going on there. Love wildlife, love Pokemon. The two come hand in hand. We would go on holiday, my brother and I, always pick up a fishing rod and head down to the beach. No idea what we're doing, but it was always being a laugh. Sit there till I get sunburnt. Just so you people know, I'm ginger, so the sun does get me. And it kind of started from there. Then I revisited it as an adult and started taking it a bit too serious. And that's when I realized you don't have to take it that serious.
Yeah.
You can just have fun with it.
And that's the goal of your content, is it, to sort of remind people of that?
Yeah, I feel like the industry is so on selling everything to people. And I feel like it doesn't have to be that way. You can go with quite minimal tactics and still have a good time, still catch fish. I feel like people a lot of time trying to just sell you stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely where the world is, I suppose, in terms of you flick through TikTok at the minute and every other thing is an advert. You're trying to see someone fish, and all you're getting is adverts for whatever you.
Yeah, so I can jump on the back, on the TikTok front. Recently, they've been pushing me, asking me, do I want to sell products? Do I want to sell products? Maybe in the future, but right now, no, man. It's taking it away from the fun.
Yeah, you are the product.
I am the product. Consume me.
So tell me a bit about your that first experience of fishing. You said it was when you were younger.
Yeah, but that didn't really ignite the spark. I'd say I moved into this house and Wandle backed onto my house, and I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to get back into this.
Yeah.
And I would just walk down the river in the summer and sit there all day. And I remember I caught this roach. It must have been this big, and it was the best feeling ever. It just sparked off the love for it again.
So tell me a bit about that feeling of catching a fish. What is it about? I fished once when I was younger. I went up to Scotland and threw a line in. I think I caught a starfish, and that was it. And then I gave
amazing.
Up. I gave up.
That's crazy. I can't believe you caught a starfish.
Yeah, man.
How did you feel?
I don't think I got the same buzz, to be honest with you. But that's why I'm interested to hear sort of what you experienced, because I think I really wanted a fishing rod, and I remember hounding my parents saying, or Father Christmas, I don't know how old I was, I want a fishing rod, and they're like, you're never going to use it. And then I got it, went out once with it and didn't use it, so they were right. But
I hear that.
Yeah.
I don't know, for me, there's multiple things. I can get a bit deep as well if you want to. Gone through a lot of stuff in life. Mind's always busy, lots of noises, but just sitting on the bank, even if it's in the middle of a city, I would much prefer to be sitting out there, watching everything going on, paying attention to the present versus what's going on in there. It's a nice escape from that. There's another element which I love is I told you, I love nature. I don't think I was aware to how much nature we have on our doorstep. A lot of my thing is urban. Bro, I see kingfishers. I see big fish you would never believe of. Have you ever heard of a barbel?
No.
Should definitely check that out. And all the people listening in should definitely check out a barbel. Torpedo of a fish. And it's just amazing. What you don't really notice anything until you start looking.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose a lot of your videos are urban, like you say. So are you trying to get people to realise how close to nature we are as well as part of it, or?
I'll be honest, it's a bit of a gimmick. Dude, I want to go out and sit on the nice pastures with the cows in the back and chilling. But do I want to watch that? Not really. I want to watch someone getting gritty and dirty.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to cater to them people.
Yeah. And in terms of obviously what you're doing now, so you're taking it online. That taking that online shows you've got this obviously creative spark. You're funny with it. Have you always been that way? Like, have you always been creatively minded?
Yeah, I've always been creative. I studied music, did music, all about music. Wanted to work in the industry. Got my foot in the door of a media company, doing video, audio, all that fun stuff. And I realised it's not all it seems to be. But with this, it allowed me to get that creative spark and be creative on my own terms, not under someone else's. And that was really empowering.
Yeah, yeah. I think, like you say, when you're doing something that you're passionate about, trying to trying to make that a job and doing that for other people sort of kills that passion.
Oh, 100%, dude.
I think a lot of people like come across that in stuff that they, whatever their venture is, they find that sort of thing. What was it that led you to take it online? What was the catalyst that inspired you to go from just hobby fishing to I want to make something out of this?
Yeah, so I indulge YouTube content like crazy. Might have a problem. And then at work, I was working with YouTube stuff, and I was seeing like what we're doing here, and I was like, why can't I do that? I knew that I had to put some stuff on the line, pun intended. But to what cost? Yeah, but I thought, why don't I give it a go? Why don't I try and see if I can turn like my passion? Don't try and kill the passion, but get a nice little balance, and that's what happened here.
Yeah. And do you feel that you've got that balance now?
Yeah, but I want to double up. I want to go a bit harder, and I feel like in life sometimes you have to like give it. You don't have to do it like you don't. How do I put this? Sometimes things are hard and you don't really want to do them, but if you want that end product, you have to like sacrifice some stuff. And there's going to be things that I'm not going to enjoy, but I'm willing to do that as long as it stays within my like ethics and what I stand for.
And tell me a little bit about sort of the behind the scenes. So we see the videos, we see the shorts, we see like what you're doing out there, but how much work is there behind the scenes that people don't see?
Oh, dude, I'm crying 24/7. Like right now it's winter, which is like really hard to catch fish. I'll be honest with you guys, I've gone out so many times trying to make videos, and I blank. And people do put videos up with doing that, but I need to give people what they want. I can't give the people nothing. I always say that I don't blank, but I do blank. And for people who don't know what I mean by a blank, that means not catching a fish.
Right.
My content's about fishing, so I've got to catch a fish. What else happens? I hike to random locations. We went Epping Forest, me and my girlfriend, shout out her, camera lady. She's put a lot of effort in, feel bad for her. But we did like a 3-hour hike to get to this random lake and then just sit there and not catch anything.
Yeah.
Planning to go back and do it again, but need to convince the missus.
Yeah. Offer a little sweetener or something.
Yeah, definitely.
How long do you sit there for before you call it and accept it's a blank?
Multiple days. I'll go back and back and back. So
Okay.
I did a fast food video where I compared KFC versus Burger King versus McDonald's. I'm not going to tell you what won, but we wanted to see which of these would catch fish.
Yeah.
I did that 3 days in a row, in the same places. It was painful.
None of them are that good if it took that long. Then I suppose.
Yeah, at
Is
the
that
end,
fair to say?
100%. Don't eat fast food, man. It's bad for you.
Health advice as well. In terms of that sort of behind the scenes stuff, obviously with this as well, I remember before I started, and everyone who watches podcasts or listens to podcasts, you see that hour or so conversation, you listen to it, and hopefully you enjoy it. But you don't see the booking of guests, the prepping for an episode, the editing after the episode, all of that stuff that goes on, like processing it and stuff. And I think that's, even though I knew it was a thing and everyone sort of talks about it, I never really knew until I started, which I suppose is understandable. But yeah, there's a lot more that goes into stuff like this.
100%. It's painful. You know yourself, man. You're sitting there for hours and hours cutting through all the footage. It takes a lot of time. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
How do you feel about other people editing like your content or like getting their hands and like maybe doing the cuts and stuff like that?
It's interesting. Yeah, I've thought about that briefly. Like, obviously, I'm nowhere near a level where that would be happening. But like a lot of the top podcasters have that. I guess they would have to be very similar to me in terms of like how I would want it to look and how I'd want it edited. I don't edit out any like audio or anything, just any mishaps or anything. But in terms of like the video, obviously at the minute it just switches between the speaker more or less, so it wouldn't be difficult for someone competent to recreate that. But yeah, someone aligned with my values, maybe if it helped save time and if it was something they wanted to do. But yeah, we'll see. That's a way in the future thing, I think. So is that something that you'd be open to, or?
I worry about it. I feel like it's my baby, you know?
Yeah,
Imagine someone that, like, how can someone mold the thing the same way that I mold it, you know?
yeah, I totally feel that, and I think a lot of creators do feel that way, like especially when they've created something from nothing, taking it to a successful point, and then people start getting involved with like management or editing or whatever it is. It's then not yours totally.
I hear
There's
you,
someone
dude.
else there. So yeah, it's an interesting thought, but yeah, we'll see. Um, so we've spoken about some of the videos you do and like the urban experience and sort of getting out into nature in your backyard. There was a video, I think it was one of your earlier videos where you went to a pub, sat in the pub garden, um, with our mutual friend Will,
Big
and
up, Will.
pick up Will, and you caught a fish. But in that episode at the start, you spoke about like the social anxiety as soon as you got there and how uncomfortable that made you sitting in the garden. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, dude, it's terrible, man. I'm like in the middle of a pub with fishing gear. Not much like this. I've got a whole ghillie suit on and it's uncomfortable. Always suffer with anxiety, but I feel like for me, putting myself in them circumstances helps me get like through that stuff and makes me better. Uh, Phrase, pressure makes diamonds, and I'm putting pressure on myself, trying to push my comfort zone, and it makes it fun because other people are going to see me squirm, be
Yeah,
uncomfortable. It
it's
makes it way more
relatable as well,
exciting.
isn't it?
Exactly, like that's how we're feeling, man.
Yeah,
It's like getting on the tube. That stuff sucks.
yeah, yeah. It's true. I never like, yeah, until now I never really thought about that. Yeah, by you being vulnerable about how you're feeling, will bring in more people because people feel that way. If you asked anyone to go and sit in a pub garden with a fishing rod, I think you'd be hard pushed to find anyone who wouldn't be slightly
I'm a bit
conscious of like.
crazy.
How long did you sit there before you caught it?
uh, I'm gonna be honest. I never thought that video was actually gonna make anything, and it riled up quite a lot of people. My friend and I, Will, we had like a 3-course meal. We did like 3 hours. We were like gonna call it a day, but we had another friend who was working behind the bar who may have offered us a free beverage.
Yeah,
So once we finished that, we went to reel in, and that's when we realised we was onto a little river monster.
yeah, yeah. I'd say. Um, what did that teach you? That sort of pushing yourself outside of that comfort zone. Obviously, I'm sure you've done it again and again since then, but
It's weird. I'm gonna say something. Maybe it's a bit probably not what you're thinking. With this and pushing myself, like it's making me feel good, but I'm also worried about how much of myself I put online. Because let's say that this keeps going the way it's going, which is all positive. How much of like my personal things am I going to keep to myself, and how much is everyone going to know? And I don't know. It makes me feel a bit uneasy.
yeah, about oversharing certain things.
Yeah, and I'm got a big mouth, man. I find it hard to keep it shut.
It's lucky you're the one doing the editing then. So from your time in fishing, have you had any sort of memorable stories that come to mind? Anything that you
Yeah,
think of straight away?
the first one is we was down on this beach called Chelsea, and this huge dolphin-like creature swam as far as you are from me. It was crazy to see this, and I won't be getting in the sea anytime soon.
I hate the sea, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's big, it's dark, it's blue, and it's deep.
Yeah. If you've seen Jaws, then there's no way that you're getting in the sea after that. That was enough for me.
And another story is I meet a lot of unsavory characters because I'm in unsavory places. Not too long ago, I did a video about Croydon's Lost Canal, London's Lost Canal, which is in Croydon. It was lovely until it became evening, and a big group of people like literally just started shooting up behind me. I was getting shouted nonsense at. I was like, I'm getting out of there. I've got a camera on me. I've got a drone on me. I'm like, I don't want to be in Croydon at this time.
So how you just moved out before it became
Yeah,
anything?
I had a little bit of a confrontation with this guy with two dogs, and that's in the video. It's kind of funny. He's telling me, leave the terrapins alone. Catchphrase. But yeah, just try to get out of there. And on that way there, outside the train station, watching load of drug deals go down as well. Fun times.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of like confrontations with people? Like, do people comment on you doing it in these places?
I think it depends. If I'm with people, it's less likely. But if I'm on my own, I'm more susceptible to being targeted. And I've had it before where I've been in places and people have been lurking around me until someone turns up, and then they'll just venture on their way once someone's come with me.
Tell me about your creative processes. So in terms of making the content, we've spoken about all the stuff behind the scenes, but in terms of like coming up with actual ideas, how does that work for you?
So it all starts with Google Maps. I'm looking at waters first to see if there's anything interesting, like a disused canal, an abandoned swimming pool, this kind of stuff. But then I'm also looking for places I can actually fish. So the Thames I can fish because Magna Carta, interesting. Everyone's allowed to fish it free. Don't have to pay for anything other than a rod license. But other areas are owned by angling societies and people, and not all the time you can't get a day ticket, or you have to buy a day ticket, go to the tackle shop.
How much is a day ticket?
Depends on the waters. You can go from like anywhere from like £7 to 30 quid.
Right.
Like a lake that I fish, I pay £30 a night.
Right.
I don't know if it's expensive or not. I need to find out.
Yeah. And the Thames, is that the entirety of the Thames?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I know that it's free fishing everywhere. No one can own the rights to the Thames. Something to do with the Magna Carta.
Okay.
Probably should look into that.
Cool. So you find a place to fish, then what?
Yeah, so once I found a place, I try to look for something that's like relatable. So call it a gimmick if you like, but I want to have something that makes everybody feel welcome and could come and enjoy my video, not just some bog standard me fishing, sitting on the side doing nothing until I catch a fish. I want to make it interesting and entertaining. I want to bring something a bit show busy.
Yeah, I suppose I don't know how many people do fish, but I'd say it's probably quite a small percentage. So you've got to be able to attract people who don't fish, like myself. And yeah, I've enjoyed your content. I think it's funny. I think it's unique. It's like raw as well. It's just you.
Thank you, dude. Cheers.
And just having a good time, like that comes across definitely. In terms of the videos that you've made, is there any that like were your favorites? Do you have a favorite? It's difficult to ask that question to a creator, I suppose.
My favorite's got to be the first one I actually filmed. I think it's the third video on my YouTube, but it was just me and my friend Tom wearing waders. So they're like trousers that you can put up to your chest.
Right.
And we got into the Wandle and we walked from the Croydon to Wandsworth. And it's just us having an adventure, walking down, seeing if we can catch anything. And yes.
Oh, so you're actually walking in the river?
Yeah, man.
The whole time?
All right, and dude, there's deep spots. I nearly drowned one time. We got caught up in a bush. Yeah, it's cool, man.
Oh, okay.
Never knew that. Also, when something swims past your leg in the murky water, you jump.
Yeah. Oh, I have to go and watch that. That sounds good. How long did that take you to walk that?
A long time. Probably like the whole day. I'm not really sure about the whole day. We got there like 8 in the morning, and I think we finished like 7 o'clock.
Wow. Yes, it's a long way to walk outside of water.
It messes up your legs as well. You don't realise it because the ground's so uneven. When you're placing your foot, it puts strain on your joints. And for a big guy like me with bad knees, it's treacherous.
I'm out for days. In terms of people who might be listening and who want to get started with fishing, so whether they've started already or whether they're interested and want to get started, how do they do that? Have you got any tips for anyone in that position, that mistakes that you made that they can learn from, sort of thing?
Yeah, man. I got a load of things to say about this. So the first thing I'm going to say to anybody listening is that you've got a resource out there that I wasn't privy to back in the day, but I am now, and that's the internet. You got YouTube videos. There's so many people posting content and putting out their ideas. There's an abundance of wealth to learn from. And on that note, big shout out to Fishing with Carl. Him and his brother got a side channel where they just teach you how to tie rigs, tie hooks, what kind of baits work with fish, and all that like kind of basic beginning knowledge. And then from there, I'd say it's about getting down on the river and adventuring. And I wouldn't take obviously listen to people, but I think it's worth you going out there, going to look at the waters, observing, because it's crazy what you see. And I'll give you an example. Wimbledon Common, going there in the evening, I'm watching the bats swoop down, chasing the insects, and the fish coming up and chasing the insects. But from that, I was able to see where the fish are located in the lake. I've also noticed this crazy bit of behavior that's happening. And I know what the fish are eating. They're eating flies. So that can change the whole way that I approach this. The next thing I'm going to jump onto is like be safe. And that means for the fish and it means for you. So carry the right equipment, the right net, mats and stuff like that to make sure you don't injure the fish. And then be careful yourself. Don't take chances that are going to put you in a bad place. If you fall into the river or you fall into the sea, at certain times that can be very deadly and very dangerous. Undercurrents can sweep you away and pretty much destroy you.
Yeah,
They
for
take your
sure.
life away easy.
Yeah, for sure. Like it happens to a lot of people, unfortunately, doesn't it? And if you're new to something, you don't realise the dangers. So it's good to make that point there. In terms of like misconceptions then around fishing people,
Let's go with that one, man.
the fishing community.
That sounds nice.
The misconceptions around the fishing community. Are there any that you've come across? Is there anything that comes to mind that you want to like?
100%, man. Like, so I'm in a lot of communities on Facebook. That's where most of these things are. I'm in multiple wander groups. I'm in urban angling groups. I'm in all of this stuff. And what you'll find is a lot of us, like, we're cleaning the environment. You know, we're putting money and resource back into the river. Recently, I've just gone and done a massive clean of the Wandle itself. We also help funding to put fish into the water and do all this stuff. I think a lot of the time people think that fishermen are coming out there and just like killing the fish. I understand there's like an ethical level to it, and it might be a bit cruel to think about catch and release, but it does benefit the environment, especially in places like London where it's heavily polluted. Like these kind of us paying the EA, so that's what we do. Everyone has to buy a rod license,
Right.
and you give 30 quid or however much it is to the EA, and that allows you to fish for the year. That money is meant to be used to like improve and help generate like a better area. And so what you'll see on the Wander, for example, people will actually like breed fish in fish farms and put it in the water. They'll take up the banks and put like native plants and all this kind of stuff. And this helps create a better ecosystem. So yeah, if that was my peeve or something that I think is a misconception about fishing, it does benefit. Obviously, you got the rogue people that are coming in and doing like bad practices of like netting loads of fish and taking it and destroying stuff and polluting it. But I'd say on the whole, like the fishing community is pretty good at that. And if people find out this stuff, they'll sort it out. And one last point, I'm sorry, I'm going to go on about this.
No, go for it.
But like on a regular basis, you'll find someone will come onto a Facebook group and be like, hey, a bunch of tires have been thrown in the river. Someone's dropped an oil tank or this. And you'll find a group of guys or girls going down to the river and just getting it out and sorting it out, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah. So I suppose they're looking after the place where they want to fish anyway. So there's like the selfish element, but then also it's benefiting the community as well because everyone gets a cleaner environment, as you say.
100%. Like, don't get me wrong, there is a selfish element to it, but I think like the resource that we bring to it helps. Like even in the winter, think about we're throwing food into the water constantly, keeping these guys alive. And yeah, we got an off season as well, just so you guys know. An off season we don't fish from the 15th of March to the 15th of July, I believe it is. So all of that time, don't fish the rivers so the fish can breed and sort themselves out. Other fish have different times where you can't fish for them.
Okay, is that in line with then the fish's
Yeah, exactly, man.
like breeding seasons and stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, that's cool. If you were to fish during that time, do you get a fine?
Yeah, you'll get told off. I think it's £2,000, and I've heard of people getting their rods taken away.
Yeah.
You can go to fisheries, which are like private-owned lakes where people own the waters. And they do whatever they want to do because it's their rules.
Yeah.
But on our rivers, yeah, no.
And in terms of going back to your channel, what are your goals for it at the moment? So you said you wanted to sort of really up it this year and go all in. What have you got planned for the future? Like, where do you want to take it? Have you got anything in mind?
Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I've heard there's shark in the Thames. So briefly, 3 years I've been working trying to find out where this species of shark called taupe live. And a taupe is actually quite a large shark. I think it's poisonous or venomous. I'm not sure which one it is, but it lives in UK waters. The water is brackish up until Teddington, and that means it's salt water and fresh water. There's been sightings of shark, dogfish, catfish, not catfish, but they are there as well, along the river. And I think it would be amazing to catch a shark in London.
Mm.
So that's one of the things I would like to do this year. Other things I would like to do this year, I want to hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm so close. I've got 615, I think, of a recording.
Hmm.
And I'm also like on, I can't remember how many views, but I'm not far off of getting monetized. I want to get monetized for multiple reasons. I can make better videos, bigger videos, and eventually it'd be great just to be able to like go out and do this kind of stuff and get paid for it.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to like turn this into a money thing, but not at the detriment of ruining it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
want to turn it into a job where I'm just grinding it out. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to, you know, like, I don't know, if this worked for you, like it got big and you made loads of money off of it, would you want to change it? Would you want to, you know, that's kind of where I'm at.
Only for the better. Yeah.
Other things I want to do, I want to double the amount of videos I've done. I did a lot last year, but I want to do more. I know what the people want. I know what you guys want. I want to do more of that stuff for you. Put myself in more silly places. Yeah.
In terms of that, in terms of what the people want, is the community that you're building a big part of it, and the feedback you get from people, comments, stuff like that?
Yeah, dude, I've made friends with some random dudes and like they're all cool. One guy watched my video, he was like, "Oh yeah, I went to the place that you went, I've done this kind of thing and I've caught a massive pike." Sent me a photo. I was like, "Dude, this thing's crazy." Another dude, big him up, Jay, he's invited me to come down to him in Oxford. We're gonna go find this abandoned thing. This should make for a cool video. Yeah, man, the community is cool and the people
Yeah.
I'm meeting are lovely, and a lot of the feedback I'm getting is it's nice to meet someone who's not trying to pretend or do this boring stuff and just be like a real person.
Yeah.
And yeah, if anyone else listening, you want to reach out, whatever, I'm here, man. I'll reply to your message. Maybe not right on the dot, but I'll get back to you. Let's build this community.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's such an important part, like speaking to people. And obviously, like if you help one person, that's great. But the more people you can help and reach, the better. And in terms of like feedback from friends and stuff, so obviously they've known you're as quite a creative person anyway, and quite an outgoing person, I would say, before you started. But what was their feedback when you started putting yourself out online? Was it all positive?
Yeah. I've always been known to be a guy with a million ideas, but never really like see anything through. And I think a lot of people didn't realize I was gonna just keep doing it. I know that I'm annoying loads of people posting on my Instagram, and the whole thing's just changed. But without these people, big up all the friends and everyone who supported, because without you guys at the beginning, I would not have got the traction for it to get to the place it is now, where now it's actually seeming like it could go somewhere. Without them guys at the beginning, like my videos were not going to get put in the algorithm. I would have got like 10 views. I'm talking to like big people now. It feels amazing. And I know it's not, I'm talking about to big people, but I dreamt of like being able to be, there's guys that I watch their videos that are watching my videos. It's so insane. Like,
Yeah.
again, I'm sorry, Carl, I'm not trying to bum you off, but the fact that you watch my videos is crazy. Dude, I watched your videos for so long and now you're watching mine. It's so mad. And that's all thanks to the friends, the beginning, because they were my foundation and they're still supporting me now. I'm trying to do something similar to you, and we're lucky. We got so many interesting friends.
Yeah, I resonate a lot with that in terms of the support. And even though it's internally driven for us, having someone on the outside look at it and go, yeah, that's good content, like keep it up. Like little comments like that are really, really nice to hear,
100%,
especially from
dude.
people that you've known for however long. And yeah, also about that sort of like people who you've watched and whose content you've looked at, people you've followed online. Like I've followed people for years and I've had them on the podcast now, and I've had like a one-on-one chat with this person that I've sort of, I say looked up to, but you know, you do, if you follow someone who's got a lot of followers and you don't really know, you do look up to them a bit. And yeah, it's amazing to be able to suddenly get into that space and speak to people and see how accessible people are actually.
I think it also, like, it gives you, like, I admire them more because I didn't realize all of the stuff that we got to go through. Like we've gone through some stuff today, man. I didn't realize like Now I understand their pain when they're sitting there saying they're frustrated, but like, oh yeah, but you're just a YouTuber or da da da. Like I get it now. I get it.
Yeah. For anyone wondering what Charlie meant there when he referenced the stuff today, my cameras have shut down on me about 3 times, so we've had to record certain bits again, and we got there. We're there in the end, so
Woo!
we made it. We'll see how it comes out the other side. In terms of social media, then obviously using sort of all platforms more or less. How do you? Were you always big on social media anyway? Is it something that you've had to get used to?
I'm such a hypocrite. Like I hate social media. Yeah, I indulge in it and I use it maybe a bit too much. I also try to limit myself at times. But I think it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Like if you're watching good stuff like this, I think this is good for you. Good podcast, nice. Stuff about animals, nice. Or whatever you're interested in. But if you're indulging in like, I don't know, maybe not, who knows? But I feel like too much of it can be bad and set precedent in your head that is not good. You're better off going outside and touching grass. But then that's not to say don't indulge, but it's like anything, man. Like don't drink too much or don't smoke too much or whatever it is. Just do things in moderation, which is hard.
Key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I agree. Like, I'm not a social media person, and in terms of like before this podcast, I'd been off social media for 5 odd years, and I loved it. So coming back onto social media is like really interesting for me to try and get my mindset into that of the creator as opposed to the consumer, I suppose. But yeah, there's definitely positives and negatives to it, like you say, and moderation is the key. Trying to work out sort of how to balance it.
What do you prefer? Being the consumer or the creator?
The creator,
Yeah.
100%. I told myself when I got all of the apps back on my phone for creating purposes that I would just go on, create, do my thing, and then go off the app. And obviously that's not happened. Obviously, suddenly you're scrolling stuff.
You do need to do that a little bit though. To see what's going on, man. Because otherwise you got to be a bit malleable and adapt. You got to see what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. I do. I think for me the one that's like TikTok is my least favorite in terms of how random it is.
I hear you.
You're just getting shown loads of random stuff.
I think that's good though as well.
If you hang on something for just an extra second, they start showing you loads more of that, and people hang on bad stuff.
True.
So you're watching stuff that's not good for you that then just feeds you more of that. And you get to this point where you've spent half an hour just scrolling again and again. You couldn't tell me 5 of the videos that you've watched, probably 2 of them, like maybe the last one only. But yeah, it's quite interesting. And watching people around me like sit there and just scroll when you're at a social gathering or when you're having a meal or whatever, it
hurts me.
It's really sad.
I find it like but I'm doing it as well. Maybe I've got my music on. I don't know if people count that, but when I'm looking around, I just see everyone face down. And I think about when I was younger and I was going up in the city, I would always read a book and things. I was like, that's a way more valuable bit of time.
Yeah. And I think, you get on a tube, anytime you get on the tube, everyone's either got headphones in or heads down on their phone. And it's so sad that there's like no conversation happening, or the way people move around each other in the tube is a whole other thing in itself, isn't it? But I went to Bruce Springsteen concert in last year, and because of the age group that would have been drawn there, we were sat up just above the standing bit, and across the sea of people standing, there was no phones out.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. It's like going back in time to people just enjoying a gig.
That is cool. That's cool, man. I'm glad you experienced that.
Yeah, it was a really nice thing to see. So if you want no phones, go to
big up Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, go to a Bruce Springsteen concert or a singer who's a bit older. Bring it into a close then. Something I like to do at the end of episodes is ask my guests to leave a question for the listener. So when I listen to podcasts, I enjoy going away and having conversations about the topic, about what was discussed. So for people listening now, what question would you give them that they can then take away and speak to a family member, a friend, a stranger, what question would you give them?
I'm not sure if you've had this question before, but it's going to be, how you feeling?
Nice. I've not had that before.
I feel like everyone should first ask themselves how they're feeling, and then ask the people around them how they're feeling, man.
Yeah.
Spread a little love.
I like that a lot. I think, yeah, to be fair, everyone's asked some really good, interesting questions. But yeah, actually asking someone about their feelings, lovely. Yeah. And we should be doing that all the time anyway.
Definitely look out for each
But
other.
use this as your reminder, if you're listening now, to go and ask someone how they're feeling. Charlie, it's been wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for keeping the outfit on for the entire recording. You must be hot. If people want to find your channel, Instagram, whatever, do you want to tell them where to go?
Yeah, Instagram, CharlieDoesFishing. YouTube, CharlieDoesFishing. 1. TikTok, CharlieDoesFishing. Everything, CharlieDoesFishing. Thank you, Sam, man. You're a boss. Cheers for having me, man.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. If you've listened to the episodes and enjoyed the episodes, please do share it with a friend who you think would enjoy it. If you've not already, then do follow and rate the show as well. That helps us reach new people. And also you can follow us on Instagram. So our Instagram is @LonelyChapterPodcast. And lastly from me, thank you for listening.